We're back here at PAX Australia 2016, Sunday, day 3, with Lalor from Razer. Just getting that name right, of course. Lalor, you're the marketing manager for Razer.
Yes.
You've been here on the show floor these last 3 days. Can you just give us a rundown of what we're seeing behind us here at the Razer booth?
Okay, so today, this whole weekend, we've had a bit of a showcase in terms of our new products that we have. A lot of our refresh products, including the Death Adder Elite, the most advanced gaming mouse on the market to date, as well as our refresh Kraken headsets, our Blade laptops, including the Blade, new 14-inch Blade, which is sporting a GTX 1060, so it's VR ready, as well as things like our Stealth and also the Razer Blade Core. A couple of other items that we have, as well as our entire broadcaster suite. So great for game casters, content creators, and that sort of thing. We've had the last piece of the puzzle added to that, which is a Stargazer Camera, which is using Intel's RealSense technology. So that allows for dynamic background removal, so there's no huge setup with a green screen behind you or anything like that. And of course we have our OSVR HDK2 headset on display and demoing as well.
Now, have you been able to leave the booth much? Have you been able to see much else at PAX?
Unfortunately not. It has been quite hectic at the booth. We've had a lot of engagement with the fans, a lot of engagement with people demoing the product, asking questions, and asking for release dates and that sort of thing. A lot of it is new, and we're trying to get it into the country in the next couple of months as soon as possible.
Now, we did see as well, obviously, you giving giveaways. There was T-shirts, throwing swag, keyboards into the crowd. How's the reception on that?
Everyone loves free stuff, but everyone loves free Razer stuff, so there's no question about that, so everyone loves it.
Have you been getting any feedback from people trying the products here? Just sort of, what are people saying about it on the floor?
Yeah, I think some of the items that have been really key is the Stargazer Camera, also the Death Adder Elite, and we've had some really good feedback on our new keyboard, which is the Razer Ornata. So that's a mechanical membrane hybrid switch that we've developed in our factories. It's a nice stepping stone between a normal membrane keyboard, such as our Deathstalker, all the way up to a mechanical switch, so it's a nice halfway point for those. And it has a couple of nice features, including a wrist rest, which is magnetized, so you can remove that, or you can have it there as well.
Now, if we can talk about the Stargazer Camera for a bit, you mentioned that is obviously a new thing. You can, ideally for YouTubers or Twitch streamers who are looking to remove their background, so you don't need to have the back of their room sort of thing. How's that been in development? Sort of, how'd that come about, essentially?
Yeah, I think with Intel's technology, we first announced the Stargazer back at CES earlier this year. Had some really good feedback on that. It's taken a little while to get it to market, but we're now available in the market for around about $250. But it's a great solution for anyone who doesn't want to go through that whole setup in terms of having that green screen behind them. It also has a couple of other great applications. It may not necessarily be for a gamer, but for game developers as well. It has 3D scanning technology in there, as well with the 2 cameras and the IR sensor. So it great for scanning in models, scanning in faces, and putting those details into games. And also with the facial recognition and also the hand gesture recognition. So with Windows 10, you can sit down in front of the computer, Stargazer will scan your face and log you in automatically. You can also then control applications within the system using your hands. You might even wink at it and it'll open up a program for you, or do an action in a game, depending on how you program that. So it has a lot of applications outside of gaming, but also with a dynamic background removal. That's probably one of the key things for gamers for us.
And are those gestures covered within sort of Razer's software, or is that in the Microsoft software?
It'd be mostly in the Intel apps that are available. Then there's hundreds of apps available, stretching from things like VR applications and that sort of thing, as well as game applications. Yeah.
And you talked about VR. Obviously, there's the open source VR or OSVR. Can you give us a bit of a rundown on what that is?
Yeah, so open source VR, of course, it's open source. We want to make it available to everyone. So that's game developers, tech enthusiasts, other brands, those sort of things. We don't want anyone to be tied down to a particular platform or have that proprietary licensing issue that comes around with other headsets that you see in the market. So at the end of the day, if another vendor wants to bring out their own headset, they develop the software for it, making sure it works with their programs. They can then use the HDK2. They just change the branding on it and launch it out to the market, and along with their software applications. It's not really aimed at the everyday consumer because it's not a plug-and-play solution. It does play Steam VR content, it does play OSVR content, and you can add other things in there like leap motion, so you can have a little module on there, it'll detect your hands in cyberspace, so to speak. But it's one of those things that it allows people to get into VR a lot more readily, rather than being tied down too much with another headset brand.
Do you think we're hitting sort of a saturation point with lots of different types of VR? You got PSVR, Vive, Oculus Rift, obviously HoloLens in the future, things like that. Is the OSVR just another contender, or do you think the open source of it will push it longer?
I think the open source is going to push it a lot further, because you see that with Linux. Like, people have developed Linux into so many different flavors and so many different applications. It's going to be similar for a headpiece like that. The software is available for anyone with the source code to access, and plus with the headset itself, if there's new new pieces of hardware to put into the headset, they can easily swap it out, put it back in, put in new units. So like, it could be the lenses, it could be the screens. You could even do your 3D printing for the faceplate, that sort of stuff as well. So it's fully modifiable, fully customizable, and that's probably one of the key marketing points for it. It does come with that caveat that you need to be a little bit more tech savvy, but we are working on having that sort of plug and play solution available.
Now, obviously, open source means sort of anyone come on in, but do you think it's mostly targeted at gamers at the moment, or are you looking potentially at enterprise as well?
I would probably look at game developers, and also your tech enthusiasts. So anyone who wants to tweak around with the software, tweak around with the hardware, it's essentially why we call it a hacker development kit. So that's the target market for us at the moment. Like I said, it will play Steam content, some Vive content. So things like Descent Underground, Radio G Racing, CDF Starfighter, those sort of games. It doesn't have that room scale sort of setup at the moment. It's more of a seated experience. But again, there's other things like leap motion. You can use your controllers or your keyboard and mouse as well to move around in the game. But if someone wants to do a room scale application for it, they can build it into the software.
So essentially, the tools are tools are there for them to do it. Now, if we can take a step into the esports realm for a little bit, obviously Razer is a big part of the esports realm. What fingers, where's Razer's hands at the moment in esports?
Well, we are for gamers by gamers, so that could be a casual gamer, that could be an elite esports athlete. We do a lot with elite esports. So, for example, the recent world champions for League of Legends, SKT1, we've been sponsoring them for a number of years, and three-year winners. And we do a lot of research and development with those players, as well as all the other players that we have in our stable, so to speak. So under the Team Razer banner. So a lot of the products that you will see at our booth are the result of that research and development, making sure that we have the right actuation points, the reset points, those tactile feels in our keyboards, as well as the customization and that sort of thing in our Synapse software. A lot of feedback comes from those players in our manufacturing and development of the products.
So could you make the comparison that Razer is almost like the Nike or the Adidas of esports, where you're sort of generating things for the pro players, and then taking that knowledge and giving it to casual gamers? Yeah,
definitely. We do see ourselves up there as a market leader and innovator in terms of esports gaming peripherals. So yeah, you could put us up there with Nike and Beats and those sort of brands, and Tesla and that sort of stuff. So we do see ourselves up there.
Now, we have been seeing a trend of investors coming in and purchasing esport teams, especially from the physical sports space. Where does Razer sit with that? Because obviously you guys are a sponsor of teams. How do you see the industry going?
Yeah, look, with the industry itself, like esports has been a fantastic industry over the past number of years. It's been seen a lot of growth. especially in Europe, in the US, and of course in Korea. Australia's esports scene is growing, it is getting there. We're starting to see a lot of companies take a lot more notice in the Australian esports industry. But in terms of the industry as a whole, we've already seen it surpass Hollywood, seen it surpass the music industry, and even with viewing world championships such as League of Legends Worlds or even Dota 2's International, we're seeing more eyeballs watching those than say the FIFA World Cup or the NBA Finals, the Super Bowl, all of those things combined. So everyone loves games, and at the end of the day, everyone is a gamer to some extent, whether or not you're a mobile gamer or you're an elite gamer itself. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm approaching 40 and I'm still a gamer. So,
well, hopefully you'll be around. You're approaching 40, but the average age of a gamer now is 30 something. Yep.
Yeah.
Where do you see esports being in sort of 10, 20 years? Do you think it's going to surpass sports in certain ways?
There is a big push for it to do that and have it included in things like Olympics and that sort of stuff. So there are a lot of lobbying groups and that sort of thing to get it there. We are seeing that starting to get that recognition in the States with player visas for esports and that sort of thing in the LSU. Yeah. So those sort of things, and also like there's university programs already having like scholarships and also courses in terms of esports management and pro players and that sort of thing there as well. So it's hard to say it's going to be this in 5 years' time, but there is a lot of potential for it, for sure.
And we'll start wrapping it up. But if someone's coming down to the Razer booth or coming down to future Razer booth events, what is the one thing you want them to check out?
We want you to experience the product. We're very confident in our product because we do a lot of research and a lot of design, and we don't compromise in anything in terms of the products itself. And for you to actually experience the product firsthand, we know you're going to fall in love with it. So, at the end of the day, it's something that we make as gamers and we would use. And we're very confident that you would use it yourself. So
excellent.
Having that experience would be tantamount to
the perfect Razer experience, coming down and getting hands-on, essentially.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, Lalor, thank you for chatting with us. We'll get back to it.
All right. Thank you. Cheers.